Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lovett, and if you are new to this channel, you are very much welcome. So in today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how I went about the making of this beautiful cut with shoulder bubu dress, and how I aligned my striped Aso Oke to have this V-shape effect that you are looking at right now. So if this is something you would like to learn, kindly watch to the end, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, without wasting much time, let's get right into the tutorial. So guys, welcome to the cutting aspect of this tutorial. The fabric I'm using for the making of my bubu is a Mikado fabric, 2 yards of Mikado and 2 pieces of Aso Oke. Each Aso Oke has a length of 17 inches and the wideness of 7 inches. I'll be using one for the V-neck part and the other one for the sleeve part. So I folded my fabric into 4 because I'm going to be cutting both the front and the back together. So my fabric is folded into 4, as you can see. And one thing I want you to know is that the way when we want to make a cut with shoulder, the way we measure our sleeve is completely different from the way we measure out our sleeve for normal shoulder. For cut with shoulder, we're going to place the tip of our tape rule at the center back area around your neck. Then you run it through your shoulder slope, then to the exact place you want your sleeve to be. Unlike the normal shoulder measurements, where you place your tape rule on your shoulder joints, so wherever you want it to be. So that is the difference between the two. For this, I'm making a cut with shoulder, and yeah, the first thing I did was that I ruled out my starting line, as you can see. So my fabric is folded into 4. So the next thing is to go ahead to measure out my neckline. I use the neck depth of 1.5 inches and the wideness of 3.5 inches for the back, and for the front I use the neck depth of 7 inches. It's going to be a V neck, so I use the neck depth of 7 inches. We can use up to 8 or 9 inches if you want, but for this tutorial I'm using 7 inches. And for the wideness I use 3.5 inches. So the next thing now is to measure out my shoulder slope. I I measured 1.5 inches down for the shoulder slant. So I measured out 1.5 inches and I joined it together with my neckline. So I folded my fabric into 4, like I said earlier, to cut out the back and the front piece together. So I folded like 18 inches because I don't want it to be more than that. I folded 18 inches. So after marking the shoulder slope, I went down. I want the sleeve to be wide a little bit. So I measured out like 12 inches. So I measured out 12 inches. So the next thing is that I measured my half length measurements. Then I measured my up to hip measurements. This is where I'm going to mark out my hip measurements. So don't forget to leave out the shoulder slant because we're going to be cutting it. That's 1.5 inches. We're going to be cutting it out. So before you measure how wide you want your sleeve to be, you must leave out the shoulder slant. So, and you measure out how wide you want it to be. Then you take back the tape rule to the starting line. Then you measure out your half length measurements. Then you include your up to hip measurements. So after that, I go ahead and measure out my waist. I don't need my bust measurements here because it's going to be a cut with shoulder bubu, and I want the bubu to be a little bit big on me. So I don't need the bust measurements. So what I measured out is my waist measurements and my hip measurements, and I included 6 inches, 6 extra inches to it because I want it to be a little bit wide, to be full. It's a bubu dress, so definitely it has to be full on the body. So I added 6 inches, 6 extra inches to the normal waist and hip measurements. Then what I marked on the hip measurements, I run it down to the end of my Bubu gown. So that is what I just did there. It is very simple. To cut out a Bubu is very simple. You just have to get your measurement straight. So the next thing, after I have measured it out, I went ahead to cut what I have around the neck. So after cutting, we are going to cut the back part first. You can see I cut out my 1.5 inches. That is for the back. So I cut it out first, then I shape the the sides. So after I'm done with that, I removed the back. Then I will cut out my front. Don't cut out the front first. You must make sure you cut out the back first so that there won't be any problem. So after I'm done with the back, then I remove the back. How I remove the back, then I cut out my front, and that is all. You can see how neat and how beautiful it's looking already. I'm done with the cutting of my Bubu. So the next thing now is that I'm going to separate it. I'm going to bring out the back. So I'm going to remove the back first, and I'm going to work on the front because that is where my Aso Oke is going to be. So now the first thing I'm going to do that is that I'm going to take my bias. I'm going to pipe in the neckline for the front. I'm going to pipe it in with a bias. Then after I'm done with that, I'm going to fold the center like this, and I'm going to press it down. I'm going to iron it down. I want it to be so neat. So I'm going to iron it down. You can see what I have after I'm done with it. You can see the bias line. You can see how neat it's looking. I've ironed it and I've attached the bias to it. So you can see the line that I will need. This is the center front. So now the next thing is that I'm going to take my Aso Oke that I'll be using. I'm going to place it under it like this, and make sure my Aso Oke is folded into two. My Aso Oke is folded into two, as you can see. So I'm not starting from the edge of the Aso Oke. You can see I move it down a little bit to have extra allowance in case I want to cut it out. So it's going to be perfect. You can see it is folded into two already, and I make sure, another thing I did was that I make sure the lines, the stripe on my Aso Oke is aligned together. It is well aligned. If you won't be able to do this, make sure you can just pin it down. You can pin the Aso Oke down first, and then you place your fabric on it. Then you pin everything down. If you can't do it without it moving around, so I place my Aso Oke on it like this, and you can see the upper part how I left out some part of the Aso Oke. So you can see how I placed my neckline of the fabric. You can see how I placed it on the edge of the Aso Oke. So the next thing I did was that I ruled out half an inch. That is going to be my sewing allowance. I ruled out half an inch after I have placed it perfectly on the Aso Oke. Then I ruled out half an inch. I'm going to be using it to sew the Aso Oke together. You know, the Aso Oke is two pieces, like as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut it out. Please don't forget to leave out half an inch that you're going to be using, or you can just make it 1 inch. So it's to be on a safer side. You can leave out 1 inch. You're going to trim it out when you are done. So this is what I have after cutting it out. You can see how beautiful it is looking and how aligned it is. So the next thing was that I took it to the machine, and that half inch that I left out, I run my machine through it, so to join it together. You can see how it's looking at the back. After joining it together, I iron this. I press it down so well, and it is looking so beautiful. This is the front part. So the next thing now is that I'm going to place my fabric on my table, as you can see. Then I'm going to place the Aso Oke on it. I'm going to arrange it very well. I'm going to make sure it's laid. See the center front. You can see the center of the Aso Oke is well placed on the center of my fabric. So I place it very well. And the next thing is that I'm going to pin it down, because I'm going to be running a stitch on it, but so that it won't be moving around while I'm running the stitch on it. So I'm going to pin it down round. So to make it perfect, I'm going to pin it down round. As you can see, I'm pinning it down. So after pinning it down, I'll take it to my machine and I'm going to run the stitch on it. I'm going to run the stitch on the neck part, and I'm going to sew down the down part as well, as you can see. And the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to pipe down the neck line of my back as well. I'm going to pipe it down with the bias like I did earlier for the front part. And after I'm done with that, I'm going to join the shoulder slant together. I'm going to join the shoulder slope. So I'm going to do that and I'll show you what I have. So this is what I have after I'm done with that. You can see I've piped in my back neckline, and I've joined the shoulder slope together. So you can see how beautiful and how neat it's looking already. You can see our boubou is almost ready. It is very easy to make, just as you're looking at it. So the next thing is that I'm going to be taking the second part of my Aso Oke. I'm going to fold it into two, like you can see. So I'm going to fold it into two and I'll press it down so it can give me this neat and beautiful effect, as you can see. So the next thing, I'm going to take it to the machine. I'm going to be sewing it. I'm going to be joining my Aso Oke to the tip of my sleeve. This is going to be a cut with shoulder, like I said. So I'm going to be joining the Aso Oke with the tip of the shoulder. And the next thing, I'm going to join the side. So if you like, you can just attach a pocket to the side of your boubou if you want it to have a pocket. So that is it. We are done with the making of your boubou. So if this tutorial has been helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining in today's tutorial. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you in my next tutorial. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Bye.